This is a modern cruise ship. It's pretty wild as is. It can have 20 decks, carry upwards of 7,000 passengers, water slides, dozens of restaurants, racetracks, even ice skating rinks. But that's nothing compared to what could be. How about this? Or this? Or even this? That's just a glimpse of what artificial intelligence thinks the future of cruising could look like. And I've got way more to show you, including some things that simply blew my mind, and I know that they will do the same for you. Now, there's been no bigger buzzword in the past 6 months than AI, and frankly, some of the things this technology is doing are pretty impressive. From face swapping videos with celebrities to passing the bar exam, there's seemingly been a revolution in what computers can do. That includes the ability to create entirely new images from just a simple text prompt. One tool is from Microsoft, and you can put in any prompt you can imagine, and the software will create something for you. Here's what it created when it asked for a duck riding a horse while eating an apple. And here is AI of someone eating too much at the cruise buffet. Being a cruise fan, I wanted to see what the technology imagined about the future of the industry. After all, just 20 years ago, Navigator of the Seas from Royal Caribbean at about 140,000 gross tons was the world's largest cruise ship. Today, that's mid-sized. So what will cruising look like in another 20 years? Well, let's just say that it has to be seen to be believed, and I'll show you right now. So to start, I asked the AI generator to create an image of the biggest cruise ship in the world in 20 years. The results were jaw-dropping. This first image definitely takes inspiration from Royal Caribbean, who is known already for creating the largest cruise ships on the planet. The split decks and the twin exhaust funnels are both signatures of their largest ships. Here, we see a massive outdoor area that features twin pool decks and multiple pools, including one that appears to have fountains in it. And at the rear of the ship is another massive pool with waterfall and a suspended deck that goes across looking out over the pool. Next is arguably the most impressive image the AI tool generated. This massive cruise ship not only dwarfs the surrounding dock, but it also looks like nothing else that I've ever seen. The bow of the ship, it doesn't come to a point here, but instead, it features a round nose with wraparound decks. The main pool deck, it looks spectacular, with multiple pools that have natural edges to them that flow with the contours of the ship. Now, while I can't know for sure just how large this ship would be, it certainly looks to be 2 to 3 times larger than the current lineup of cruise ships at sea. If you want water on the pool deck of your cruise, then this rendering of the world's largest cruise ship in 20 years is just the thing. Just don't get too caught up that it's also shaped like a bedpan. Here, towering wraparound decks overlook a central pool that is not only massive, but also comes with fountains. Lower down the ship, another large pool wraps around the bow of the ship, much closer to the waterline. Now, I don't think this design would actually ever work in real life, in that it appears so top-heavy and frankly not very streamlined, but I do have to give it kudos for creativity. Finally, the image that I was most impressed with and which seemed the most realistic to me was also the last one generated of the largest cruise ship. Here we see the lines and the split towers like what's common on Royal Caribbean ships. At the waterline, you'll see that there's a multi-level dining room with large windows looking out over the ocean. Above that is a large pool and an open-air deck with what looks like water slides tucked behind it. Moving up the ship, a massive pool is suspended between the two sides of the ship with likely another ahead of the exhaust funnel. There also looks to be lots of activities at the top of the ship with a number of colorful features, but unfortunately, the AI doesn't exactly show clearly what they're supposed to be. Now that's just the start. Of course, the most popular place on any cruise is the pool deck, and today they're already wild with tons of water and things to do. So what could this look like in the future? Here's what AI imagined for the upcoming pool decks. First, this place looks like a ton of fun, but I don't know that it's actually a cruise ship. It's a weird half cruise, half port hybrid, but the pool is massive, there are water slides everywhere, and there also looks to be some sort of climbing playground for kids. Whatever it is, do count me in, I like it. As someone that loves having a lot to do on a cruise ship, I'm also digging this version that AI created. The back half of the ship is insane. There are pools everywhere, water slides going all over the place, and still plenty of spots just to lounge and relax if you want to. What I'm not sure about is what's going on in the center, where it looks like a hot tub has been crystallized somehow, creating towers. Maybe you want to avoid that spot. It seems from this image that AI frankly doesn't care too much about safety. Check out the huge deck at the very back of the ship, and you'll see that there is no railing installed. So I guess that people can just take a dip in the ocean if they wanted, but they don't have a way to get back on board. Beyond that, we get a massive pool with a multi-level waterfall that I think is a pretty awesome feature. But we also get some crazy water slides that, well, they disappear in the middle of the ride. I'm sure that that is no big deal. Finally, we have one that actually looks almost realistic to me. The entire back of the ship is dedicated to sun and pools. You've got a main pool up front, a small medium pool, and another huge spot at the aft of the ship. Then you have a ton of small slides going everywhere, including sometimes not even into the water. So AI, of course, is not perfect. But I'll be honest, of all the AI pool decks it created, this is the one that I can almost imagine being real as long as the weight of the water isn't too much. Now, what about inside the ship? Next up, I asked AI to create an image of the interior main promenade on the world's largest cruise ship in 20 years. As you can see, the AI predicted two things. First, massive areas that look like they could hold thousands and thousands of people at once. Second, it definitely seems to think that the design on the next generation of cruise ships is going to be pretty ostentatious. All the renderings seemed like something out of classic European architecture. The closest thing I can compare it to personally is sailing aboard a recent cruise on Discovery Princess. But even that is nowhere near the style of what AI generated. I'll be honest, I just can't see a major line like Carnival or Royal Caribbean doing anything like what is pictured here, and I have to say that that does make me happy. I am not a fan of these renderings, although I will give it credit for being more realistic than some of the exterior shots that the AI generated. Next up, I asked to see the cruise cabin of the future, asking AI to create an image of the interior of a cruise ship balcony cabin in 20 years. In that case, I think there is some good news. All the images that came out show some pretty amazing rooms that I wouldn't mind staying in. First is this one that features a rounded wall with a wraparound view. Now, I'm not exactly sure where the balcony is, but waking up to that view alone would be worth the cost of the cruise fare. I also really like there's a lot of space around the cabin. Normally, the rooms are much, much smaller. Next, we have an interesting take that I've never seen before. I doubt you have either. You get a large balcony with sliding windows that open up fully, but you also get a room wide enough to fit 2 beds end to end. Beyond that, there's also deck space and lounge space. It's almost like AI doesn't realize how small cruise ship cabins normally are. Another idea is this one, where again, who knows where the balcony is? And instead of having a bed to sleep on, well, you get a chaise lounge to sleep on. Or maybe the bed is just out of frame, I guess. And if you're a fan of wood tones, then this may be the cabin for you. As for me, this is my least favorite of the imagined rooms. Finally, check out this last version of what AI imagined as the cabin of the future. Again, way more room than what you normally have, and despite specifically asking for a balcony, this room just has a massive window. I really do like the design of the decor personally, but what's cool, but also a bit disturbing, is the huge skylight on the ceiling. It looks like it opens up to the deck above, so that you can see what's going on above you. But does that mean that those people upstairs can also look down into your cabin? It's a neat idea, but you really have to think about the execution before it would be possible. So now I want to know, what do you think about some of these AI generated images? Do you have some that were your favorites or some that you absolutely could not stand or imagine ever sailing on? Let everybody know in the comments below. If you have an upcoming cruise, be sure to check out Cruzely.com for tips and advice, or you can check out the other videos on this channel. Until next time, happy sailing.